Okay, long-term review of the welly boots that I got about 18 months ago. About 18 months ago, a year to 18 months, I got a pair of these. The Grubs 8.5 Treeline boot. Now I'm going to go through some of the things that I have liked about these boots and some of the things that I maybe think they could have done a bit better with. But let's go through it. This is the Grub 8.5 boot. It's in a rather sexual real tree finish with the rubber bit at the bottom. Let's start at the bottom. That means it's a Vibram sole. Vibram sole means that it's not just cheap crap. Basically, Vibram sole helps you walking, any sort of walking that you're doing. It gives you a sure footing, means that your feet, if you've got feet problems like me, a Vibram sole helps me, so a Vibram sole is a good thing. You're going to see, like, there's the rubber sole, there is like a spongy bit, and then there is the boot. You know, boot, spongy bit, rubber sole. To walk in these things is pretty comfortable, you know. Not only will they keep your feet dry and warm in the coldest of weathers, they're actually, you know, fairly comfortable if you have to do any walking in them. One of the things I like is that Grubs put a little heel notch so that when you're trying to get them off your feet at the end of the day, they are easier taken off. Because let's face it, if you're wearing these all day, you're going to be in a pair of socks. The pair of socks are going to get sweaty, and your sweaty feet are going to stick to them. You're going to find it's harder to get these off. That brings me to some of the less positive. Inside here there is a black, like a felt type stuff. When this boot does get wet, not because it leaked, more so because it's sweat, you know, trying to get that inside there dry is a pain in the arse. It's a pain in the fucking tits, it really is. Now, I've worn these pretty constantly for all my pike fishing. You've seen me pike fishing in weathers from normal sort of rain, heats, rain, sleet, snow, mud, right through to having to smash through the ice to get to where I have to go. These boots have kept me comfortable and they've kept me warm. Now these are a size, I think these are a size 12. No, I'm lying to you. These are a size 13. I actually got these in a size 13 so I could wear two pair of socks. You know, I would wear a thicker pair and a thinner pair. Reason doing it, the thinner pair would go closer to your skin, the thicker pair would be outside of your skin. The thin pair wicks away the moisture from your feet from sweat, and the thicker pair, because there's more space between the material, it retains the warmth. But you're in a boot that is, I mean, this is all neoprene, so this is fairly warm. This is all lined. You get down here, there is like a good couple of millimeters of a lining, you know, between the rubber and the inside of the boot. It is fairly armoured. The toe is fairly, it's pretty hard. You know, don't go dropping bricks in it, but the toe is pretty good. And normally the critique with these boots is that somewhere in here, all of this plastic, all this rubber, where it meets, where it's overlapped, and where it's overlapped on the spine, you know, where it's all joined in. The crux says that eventually somewhere in there separates and you get the water ingress. Now, in the time I've had these, it's only been a year and a bit. Let's not go crazy here. It's only been a year and a bit. There's been no water ingress from, like, I've literally stood like up to there in water for, so the boots have been, in the water, and there's not been water ingress. So that's a positive. Muck boot have the same sort of design, and the disaster that was the Under Armour Hogzilla boot was basically where they failed, was where all this rubber overlaps, and wasn't waterproof. Something I do like is the little tab to help you put the boot on. You can get your finger in and you can help pull the boot on. Part of me, I'll be honest, didn't hold out much hope for that little thing, because these things tend to get ripped off. But the only sort of damage that it's really done is there's like a paint on here that if you shine a light on it lights up. Is that part of it's kind of worn off, but it's still fairly stitched. Don't know if how this is coming out on the TV on the camera here. It's still fairly well stitched into there, and there's no signs of it fraying or tearing. Both the boots are the same. I mean, that's like this one shows. There's no issues with it coming out. It's stitched in there. It's in there pretty good. Now those little tabs have been really good for pulling on the boot. I quite like them. I'm surprised that they've lasted this long. So that's a plus. That's a plus. I mean, like I said, the negatives aren't really a lot of negatives, if I'm honest with you. They take forever to dry out again. To the point where after a day's fishing, where I know that I've been, I've been like fishing for a couple of days and wearing them for a couple of days, inside of the boot will be damp. So to the point where I take it out of the van and put it into the garage and let it dry out on here, it would take a couple of days for it to dry out. So I will take like an old shit newspaper and scrunch it all up into balls and push it into the welly boot. That kind of takes out some of the moisture. But if all else fails, I would get, because I probably aren't going to be able to see this, I have a gas powered heater in the garage. I put the gas powered heater on, on like a low bar, let this garage get het up, and that would dry out the boot. Like that I said, the negatives are small. Now, the longest period of time I've worn these for is for 3 days of fishing. That was pretty much constant on my feet for all the time I was fishing. The only time they were off my feet is when I was obviously in a bivvy. Now, you don't wear the same socks as you do, like from day 1 to day 3. I would change my socks, kind of almost religiously. At the end of the day, I take off the socks I've been wearing and I put on fresh socks. I also put on fresh underpants, but that's more of like a difference. It's like take the damp, wet, sweaty clothes off, put on dry, clean, nice stuff. Putting dry socks into the boots the third day wasn't an issue, was not a problem. But like I said, this foam liner, or this fleece covering, even if I put my hand to the bottom of the boot now, the boot is a bit damp. The boot feels a bit damp. It's not a game changer. It's not like I'm going to return these to Grubs and say I'm disgusted with the quality. It's purely because the last time I wore these, when's this? This is a Tuesday, so it was Sunday, so 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And again, I was standing up to probably about there in water for some of the session. And both boots are kind of damp. It's like a damp, to the touch damp, but it's just literally kind of because this top layer of fleece has retained some of the dampness. Over the year of wearing them, there has been like next to fuck all on the wear, on the sole. you can see somewhere I'm walking. I mean, I kind of walk a bit weird anyway, so one side of the boot will have worn down more than the other. It's the same with the instep. You can see what's been squished down more than one than the other. But all in all, it's a positive. What about you stepped them? It's a positive review. Quite like these boots. I'm going to include the original, like, first impressions thing along with the it'll be in the description below. So if you want to check out like the very first inspection or first view of them, and to like what I think now after a year of having them, then thanks very much. These videos don't really generate an awful lot of views. I mean, I know not everyone's interested in like a long-term review of a pair of welly boots. So if you're going to watch it, thanks very much. If you've watched it all the way to this point, you're an awesome person. If you want to kind of feel free to share it in your social media, it would help me out. But apart from that, guys, it's all good. You know, I don't regret paying the money I paid for these. At this point in time, I can't remember how much I paid for them. But with welly boots, one top tip: if you're a size 12 like I am, try and get a size 13. Try and get a size that's a bit bigger, so you can wear your 2 pair of socks. Trust me, cold temperatures, warm feet is a good thing. You don't want cold feet, and kind of cold feet makes for a miserable day. So you want to have your feet warm and dry. So yes, a thumbs up. Grubs boots, yeah, well done. Thumbs up. Until next time, troops. Ted Lions.